Hello, dear thinkers and learners. Welcome to another session of previous year's question paper analysis with me, Dr. RK, your companion through concepts, clarity, and confidence. Today, we are tackling one of those classic either-or questions that shows up in political science semester exams. So here we have question number 8 from a previous year university semester exam paper. You are usually asked to write an essay on either Plato's ideas on the ideal state or Aristotle's theory of revolutions. These are long answer essay type questions, so it's not just about definitions, it's about structure, depth, examples, and original insight. Let's break down both options. Alright, let's start with Plato's ideal state. You are living in a city where justice isn't an afterthought, but the foundation, where rulers are philosophers and every citizen is doing what they are naturally suited for. That's Plato's vision. This comes from his famous work, The Republic, written around 380 BCE. So what's the core idea? Plato believed that state is like the human soul. Just like the soul has three parts, reason, spirit, and appetite. The state has three classes. First, rulers, second, auxiliaries, and third, producers. Rulers are guided by wisdom, they represent reason, and auxiliaries, the warriors, are guided by courage, they represent spirit. Producers are farmers, artisans, traders, driven by desire, they represent appetite. And just like a healthy soul keeps these parts in balance, a just state maintains harmony among these three classes. Here is how he defined justice: each class doing its own role without interfering in others' duties. That's it. No modern legal jargon, just functional balance. The ideal state, according to Plato, is governed by philosopher kings, people who love wisdom, hate power, and understand the forms, especially the form of the good, are called philosopher kings. They have no private property or family for the ruling class in the ideal state to prevent corruption and bias. An ideal state is built on the idea of education as a path to truth. The famous allegory of the cave illustrates this. So why did Plato think this was necessary? Because he saw Athenian democracy fail. He witnessed the execution of Socrates, his teacher. He thought majority rule without wisdom leads to chaos and injustice. So in your exam answer, make sure to start with Plato's context and aim, that is, discovering justice, and then mention the tripartite classification of classes and so, and then go on to explain the role of Plato's philosopher kings, then include features like common property, education, and censorship. Then end with criticisms. Is this a utopia or a dictatorship? Raise this question. You will impress your examiner if you connect Plato's ideas to modern debates like meritocracy, class roles, or elite governance. Now, if you went with option B, it's time to dive into Aristotle's theory of revolutions. Aristotle was Plato's student, but unlike his teacher, he was more grounded. He didn't chase utopias, he studied existing constitutions and believed in what works. So what does he say about revolution? In his work, Politics, Aristotle defines revolution as any change in a constitution, whether it's violent or peaceful, partial or complete. But here's the key. He doesn't see revolutions as random. He believed they happen due to specific causes. And if we understand them, we can prevent instability. So Aristotle is suggesting types of revolution. And according to Aristotle, what are these types? First, change from one constitution to another. For example, oligarchy to democracy. Second, internal transformation within the same constitution. For example, extreme democracy replacing moderate democracy. But why do revolutions happen? Aristotle gives us several reasons, and these include inequality and injustice. When people feel they are not treated fair, ambition and rivalry, especially among elites, then fear of punishment. Rulers, fearing accountability, may strike first, and then neglect of minor issues like small problems, if ignored, become major uprisings. Disproportionate rewards, if people don't benefit equally from the system. So these are the reasons due to that revolutions happen. And once again, inequality and injustice, ambition and rivalry, fear of punishment, neglect of minor issues, and disproportionate rewards. He also believed that demagogues, excessive wealth, and rapid change often destabilize states. How to prevent revolutions? Aristotle suggests promotion of moderation in wealth and power, respecting the middle class. He saw it as the stabilizing force. Create education systems that promote virtue and reason. Ensure laws are stronger than individuals. What's amazing is how relevant this still feels. From French Revolution to Arab Spring, most revolutions begin with perceived injustice and sense of power imbalance. So in your exam answer, start with Aristotle's definition of revolution, explain the two types, mention the causes in detail, add examples, classical or modern, and then end with his suggestions on how to avoid revolutions. If you can contrast this with Plato, who wanted to engineer a static perfect state, while Aristotle wanted to manage change wisely, you are golden. So there you go. Two thinkers, two visions. Plato dreamed of an ideal state built on justice, wisdom, and harmony, even if it meant controlling life from birth. Aristotle preferred balance, realism, and preventing revolution by addressing inequality and access. Whether you get question A or B or both as choice, you now have the material to write with structure, substance, and strategy. If you found this helpful, share it with your batchmates. And always remember, understanding the question is